Hi, I'm Guy Ardito, and today I want to talk about clarity and integrity and the impact that it can have when we don't have them. And the reason that these topics are clear to me today, little pun there, is I was watching a TV show called The Prophet. Maybe you've seen it. And it's all about a successful businessman and, other companies that are having trouble call him in and generally becomes an active partner and helps him turn things around. So I was watching an episode a few days ago that was really interesting because this company was doing about $1.5 million a year in revenue. It was a family business, and that's pretty good, except for the fact they had no profit, and the principals weren't even drawing much of a salary. And in fact, in terms of overall assets, they were in the red. They were at a loss. So they were definitely in trouble. And they called him in, and he was negotiating a deal. And first, he was going to give them a couple $1,000,000 to clear out their debts and give them working capital for about a third of the business. Or actually, no, I think it was for half of the business. And they didn't agree to that, but they negotiated down to give them about $1,000,000 for a third of the business. And they shook on that. And what happened next was really interesting because these guys who made the agreement and were taking the guy's money kept blocking his attempts to secure them high visibility licensing deals and to turn things around. And what I found laughable is towards the end of the episode, they actually called their father in. And these were two grown adult men, and they called their father in to have a sit down with the investor, the prophet, as it were. And the father was saying, you know what? No can do. So these two grown men, not only were they not being their word, they called in their father basically to have this conversation for them to call the deal off. And what this meant was, the guy had already invested a fair amount of his time and about $100,000 or so out of his money, his own account, to make some things happen. So he, walked away. He took it as a loss. And look, this happens in life sometimes, right? But the point is, they lacked integrity. Number one, they shook on a deal and then reneged. And it's not clear whether they did that because they didn't really know what they wanted or they were flat out lying. Either way, it's a problem. And it is an issue whether you're doing business or in a personal relationship. If you're dating somebody, especially if you're married to them, right? If you're not clear what you want, and if you don't have the integrity to follow through on what you say, well, that's a bedrock of a relationship, whether it's a professional relationship, a business relationship, or a personal relationship. People have to be able to rely upon you. And you, in order to be aligned, in order to be as powerful as you can be, in order to be as effective as you can be, have to know what you actually value, what you actually want, what you stand for, and in any given situation, what you are committed to achieving and what you're committed to not having happen, right? Because sometimes we have to make sure we don't want to work with certain people or have certain outcomes. So I can go on and on about this, and if you work with me in any of my programs or in my group or private coaching clients, you'll hear me talk about this as well. You have to know yourself. You have to know your strengths and weaknesses. You have to know what your needs are. You have to understand your wants, and you have to be your word. When you don't have those, you're not going to be happy and you're not going to be successful. Things are going to be in chaos around you. So if you're interested in checking out my programs, just go to guyardito.com. Until then, I look forward to hearing from you in the future. Remember, life is short. Live in love.